February 8th, the battle lines were drawn at the State House in Indianapolis. The ISTA called on its supporters to protest and defeat education reform.
They don't care about education.
Union supporters sat on stairs, lined balconies, and stood outside the House chamber, ready to send a message to lawmakers who were voting on a bill to expand charter schools that they were watching.
I don't think our legislation believes that teachers vote and that we have a huge say in what's happening here.
Every time a lawmaker voted for the bill, they booed. But every time a lawmaker voted against the bill, those with the union cheered.
For our nation.
During the rally, people carried signs asking for data about charter schools. The union has convinced its allies public charter schools are bad for kids.
I have a problem right now with the way that the economy is and filtering money out of the traditional public schools and into charter schools. I think that it takes away opportunities for the children who are going to continue to be educated within the traditional public schools.
They have to take everybody? Okay, let's do charter schools. If they have to deal with all the tests that we have to deal with, then fine, do with it. If they have all the regulations public school has, that's great, but they don't. If they take those away from us, we could do a different job too.
The ISTA is taking a stand against education reforms being pushed by Governor Mitch and State Superintendent Tony Bennett, which include charter schools, changing collective bargaining, and merit pay. All things the union encourages its members to reject.
The way that they're talking, I would love to make more money, but not the way that they're proposing to have us do it.
I am opposed to merit pay because, first of all, it is a pay cut. After you reduce our salary by 20%, then you have a little bit of merit pay for teachers to fight over. This causes teachers to fight with each other, to say that you aren't a good teacher.
If I saw a proposal that made sense, absolutely, because I do think that teachers should be rewarded for the good things that they do. But when you take a snapshot, such as a standardized test, and use that perhaps as the merit on which someone could get a raise, I think that that's taking, there are so many variables that can affect that snapshot of performance in students from one year to the next that I just don't see that as being a reliable tool for paying teachers.
The union made the fight against what they call radical school reform personal, encouraging supporters to create signs like this one that read, "Support public education, not Tina Bennett, the superintendent's wife." But Dr. Bennett says, regardless of personal attacks, the education reforms he supports are common sense measures designed for the benefit of children.
These are not radical changes. These are common sense changes that say that schools should be in charge and they should be held accountable for the education of children.
The ISTA has painted Governor Daniels and Dr. Bennett as enemies of public education and teachers.
I feel that punishing teachers isn't the right direction to go. How can I be a better teacher if you take away my benefits, my pension, my health care, my sick days, and cause us to work extra hours for which we don't get paid?
The union tells its supporters with collective bargaining reform, they lose their voice.
Through the process of collective bargaining, teachers are able to speak up without the fear of losing their job by saying something that's objectionable, that might go against the flow of the way that a superintendent or a building principal might feel is the way to go. And if a teacher or a principal or a superintendent has their own agenda and you're not protected with what the voice that you want to bring to that discussion, I think people will be more hesitant to present their points of view, whereas when there is a protection of teachers of being able to speak up.
Dr. Bennett says the reforms are not anti-teacher. He says the time has come to put children first.
We have to build a system in education that puts the child at the top of the food chain, not adults, and allow schools to meet those needs and allow parents to pursue schools that meet the needs of their individual children.
Despite the ISTA and its allies, the Indiana House said yes to school reform and passed the charter reform bill.
We're very fortunate to have an entire state right now that is focused on education reform.
In Indianapolis, Teresa Rashid, EAG TV.